Da 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 da! What's my good chair? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never popped into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside, and I am a little bit of a mess. And I think I'm content at the way I'm bringing myself to the table today. We did exert a little bit of energy, a little bit of disbursement, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. And in those small kindnesses, I got, this is my first 3D printed item. I got this. It's called a yarn basket. You're supposed to put a ball of yarn in there and it unravels while you're knitting. But if you look inside of it, it doesn't give it justice. It has this amazing coloring to it where it shimmers in different colors and greens and reds and blues. It just absolutely just amazing. Yeah, the camera's just not doing it justice. But my sister Alice bought me this dragon because she knows I like dragons, and I have to say, it just might be one of my favorite dragons. It's absolutely amazing, and I just love all these. Maybe on the back end, you can see just all this rainbow cut. And it's funny that I say rainbow because I'm just recognizing just in the past hour or so that I've seen quite a bit of rainbows in the past 24 hours, like an exuberant kind of so ridiculously so many rainbows that, right, sitting here and I was triggered by another rainbow, which was on my Windows screen. When I turned on my computer, there was a big window rainbow. And now that I'm thinking about it, which is strange also, is because there were those windmills, right? Danish windmills, and over the Danish windmills were these rainbows. I was just coming out of a documentary on storm chasing, and there were rainbows, great big huge rainbows in that. In this afternoon, when me and my sister went out, not only did she get me my rainbow dragon, which doesn't really show up magnificently as it is, but right, can you? Oh, I just love to hit the light just perfect so you guys can see how amazing it really is. But I went off with my sister, and we're thrifting, right? And I found Rainbow Bright, right? And yesterday, it's a game. And yesterday, what was the rainbow that I saw yesterday? It was something. Oh, I saw a double rainbow. So this has actually been going on all weekend. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've seen numerous rainbows. And in this video that I was just watching, this documentary on storm chasing, the tornadoes, like they had a rainbow at the end of it, but the tornadoes tore up those great big hydro windmills that they have out in the fields. It's a great way. I know there are some cities in Europe who are like 90% on grid with these windmills and producing hydroelectricity. And not only are they producing enough, they're actually producing enough that they can sell to neighboring villages and towns and cities, right? So I think that's pretty neat the way we look at solutions for our, well, for those resources that we strip from other places. And we have come a long way since, digging the ground out for coal. We're not doing that like we used to, right? That devastated the landscape 100%. Not only did it devastate the landscape, it devastated the miners and their families and all the black lung diseases and, losing your loved ones and sending your kids into the mine and the devastation and the taken away of the privilege of getting any good sunlight and right, some good mother nature. The kids in China now, they had a real problem with nearsightedness, and they've cured it. They've literally, in only a couple of years, they have made a 40% increase in the benefits to the children's eyesight by making sure in the school system that these children are spending 40 minutes a day outside. They call it telluric energy. It's energy that actually comes from the ground. It's not just generated and circulated in the ground, but also in the water, right? And it is a very healthy component. I think I attribute a lot of my good health to that connection that I have with Mother Nature. But back to the rainbows and the windmills and right. I don't know. I don't make the connection. I actually Googled it. I wonder if I still have it on my screen here, the window open. Maybe not. Oh, wait, yes, I do. Right here. I was looking at the meaning for the I'm trying to find this big scraggly piece of hair that's driving me crazy. There we go. I wore a 75-year-old Hawaiian dress today that I purchased. I thrifted and it fit me perfect. It was just a beautiful little dress, but it wasn't a beautiful, sunny, warm day today. I made a bad clothing choice. I could have gone for a walk or walked home from my sister's, but it was too darn cold. I was not dressed for it. But what a lovely dress. I'm really going to enjoy wearing it. So back to the rainbows. I actually Googled what the meaning of rainbows was, and there isn't really any good consistency. Because first off, when I came into it, it said it was a symbol of hope in many cultures, and then I came down a little bit further, and it says rainbows represent love and acceptance. And then I came down a little bit more, and it says rainbows symbolize good luck, wellness, happiness, and health, right? So it's there's a lot of inconsistency between the different, and I guess it is uh, in those beliefs that we do, right? We instill our ideas and that creativity and those possibilities of what it could be, and we let it out to the world like it's a truth quite often. So I couldn't find a proper definition or meaning to the word rainbows, but we all know what joy it brings to us when we spot the rainbows. What joy and presentation when we're looking at the landscape and we see all those different colors, and only in the fact that it usually comes after a bout of rain or thunderstorms, or like the show I watched, a tornado, right? That it is that sign of, right, everything's at peace, everything is okay, right? Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, right? Right? It was, I don't know, with me, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It's pretty scary to be in the middle of a tornado, but to see a rainbow, right? To see the rainbow effect afterwards, how magnificent that would make you feel. Okay, you guys, we are picking a new word today. It is Monday. It's going to be the first impression, the first thing that comes to my mind in a perception, and we'll just dig into it for a few minutes. I have had a full day today. I spent some time with my sisters, all three of them today, and I can tell you it was lovely. It was full of gifts. Right. I love my dragon. I don't know what I'm going to use them for. Maybe for my dragon amethyst. I have a dragon amethyst. I dug this out of the ground myself, right? Can you see the dragon in them? Yeah, so I am hand polishing it. I suspect that it will take my whole life and possibly maybe somebody else's life as to whoever it gets passed down to, right? But I will one day get this as smooth and as shiny. It's pretty shiny now. You hold it up to the light, you can see right through it, eh? It's just a big honking piece of amethyst, but because of the way the iron has settled into the stone, it actually looked like there's a dragon. You can see the front of the dragon there, but if you turn it around, you guys, the most incredible thing is, right? The tail. The tail of the dragon is there on the back. Do you see it there? So it encompasses the entire stone, right? So that's pretty cool. And I'm not polishing this. I'm just going to be right. It just stays in my hand, and every once in a while I give it a nice little bath and put it in the sun for a couple of days, recharge it, and then it goes right back to polishing, right? Oh yeah, I was saying, well, why are you talking about your crystal? Because of this. I thought this might be a nice nest and keep it on my desk. But I'll have to put some kind of fabric or something on the bottom because I don't want the bottom of this yarn bowl be damaged by, because this is a rock. I don't know who's messaging me right now, but they can message me back later. I've rubbed a little. Oh, you guys, give me 1 second. It's gonna drive me crazy because I don't get this. I don't. Right. Oh, it's my sister. Oh my goodness. My sister, she's such a entrepreneur. She's such a go-getter. We went thrifting today, like I said, when we came in, and we went to Salvation Army, and we found the most beautiful, magnificent brooch. It had a price tag of $5.99. It turned out the brooch was made by a very flamboyant and very famous Canadian jeweler, and he makes every piece himself, and he uses vintage rhinestones. He uses Swarovski crystals. He uses his imagination, and he loves Mother Nature, and he loves the animals. And he made this most magnificent brooch of a lizard with a purse with diamonds and cabochons, and it had a beautiful design. Oh, it was covered in sparkly. Well, she just messaged me right now to say she just got off of a conversation with the artist who made this piece that we bought today for $5.99. Like, how does she do that? Oh my goodness. Number one, I wouldn't even think to go, well, I wouldn't say I wouldn't go straight to the source, because I do take note of what the possibilities are of solutions, right? And who I can connect with in order to get something done. I recognize that, right? But my sister, she goes way out, man. Who would have thought that? She went directly to the artist, and she said she had the most. I caught that just in short reading it real fast, right? But she just said she came out of a conversation with the artist, and that he said, I think she said that the piece was made 20 years ago. He remembered the piece that he made. And so my sister's got a lot of information. I'll go back into it. I just wanted to say I have the most amazing, smart, talented sisters, right? And they are all independent, and they are, you know, very determined and very capable in the things that they do when it comes to the movement in their lives, right? And I have to recognize that I am one of those sisters, and sometimes I ooh and ah about my sisters, but man, right? I can ooh and ah about myself every once in a while too. I have a lot of energy and I was able to disperse a lot of it today. That's my gift. I'm a shiner. I make things better. That's just the way it is. Okay, enough of my day. Enough of me. But it is what it is, right? Okay, you guys. Let's pick a word. We're going to delve into this word all week. We can't pick another word like the same word twice anymore because this project that we've done for this past year, it's almost been a year, is going to be over in 12 weeks, right? So 3 months. My trip is in 3 months, and this project is ending. Well, this stage of this project is ending in 3 months from now. So we are getting pretty close to right achieving those 54 words. It wasn't so easy as I thought it was going to be, but oh my goodness, it was full of lessons. Not only that, it held me accountable. It definitely moved me forward. Hopefully, right? I'm not the only one who's seeing that evidence, that other people are experiencing that evidence too. I understand people around me should feel good. If they're not feeling good, right? There's a kink in that, and that's something to take note of as to why, right? But everybody, it's not a just matter. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to be comfortable, right? It's just something, when we talk about gifts, it's just something that should just naturally happen when I'm amongst other people. Everybody should feel good, even the people who feel really, 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 really bad. And actually, even those people who are really, 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 really bad should feel good around me because I'm a shiner, right? I can't help it. My father was a shiner. I am my father's daughter, right? I don't even come close to shining the way my father shined, but I follow in those footsteps and I do the best that I can in my own movement forward. Okay, you guys, just let's get to the word. A few minutes. First perspective of the word that we're going to work on all week. We have to go up because we've done all these words. Whoa, we got a big one, you guys, this week. Our 53rd, sorry, 43rd word. 43rd word that we have this week. Oh, it's a toughie, you guys. It's a toughie. It's something I struggle in my bravery and in my courage that I have to drum up to the table every every day because I show up every day. I'm always trying to be as genuine as I can be in these conversations that I have, knowing, it's the conversations, it's the experiences, it's the adventures, it's my desires, it's in those small kindnesses, and it's in rubbing, and it's in shining, right? But we got this word truth. We got truth this this week, and the first impression, I'm going to have to say truth is something that has always been stretched in my family, right? I'm a storyteller, right? Storytellers naturally add the flowers, add the fragrance, add the colors and the rainbows, and they add that to the conversation. It's a way of keeping somebody who might, right, be easily pulled away or distracted to be able to kind of hone in a little bit. Sometimes it's enough just to get a few sentences that impact, just enough to get that brain stirring in a certain direction. And it's not in a way of saying we need to get this person this way, but it's a way to get somebody to just start thinking, right? To take a look at their lives and take a look at their relationships and actually notice that change needs to be made, right? So many of us get stuck. I was stuck for 57 57 years. I had no clue as to any of these topics at all in any way. And yet I'm being asked to come to the table with these conversations, experiences, adventures, and these life lessons, right? And it's hard because for me, they're a truth, right? I feel that and I see that and I experience that evidence for myself. But being that highly sensitive and being that empath, right? We want so much for others to see that, to experience to experience that, to believe that. And so it's important for me to kind of dance around. And this, I do a lot of dancing, you guys, around subjects. And, I'm grateful. I got a lot of smarty pants that hang out with me that can kind of decipher what I'm talking about quite often. But it's in that dance that I'm practicing. It's in that dance that I'm bringing the courage and the bravery up to, right? Bring to the table these important pieces of information that could help so many. And I have to say, help everybody. What came to mind just now is my gratefulness that I live in a country where my emotional well being is just as important as my physical well being. But in a lot of places in this world, it's not even considered, right? And if it is considered, it's only considered in a way of how do we manipulate this? How do we make this work for us and not taking into consideration, right? The person in front of us and what they need and how they could benefit, right? It's a tough one for me because I'm here and I'm telling my truth. But because we work in beliefs, right? Because our behaviors are dictated by our beliefs, right? You can see my behaviors are a little bit different than a lot of people. And yours should be different too. And that's where we get our little bit of headbutts. That's where we get those little zaps. That's right. That's where we start, right, poking at each other and and making ourselves righteous. And that's not where I want to go because I want to be transparent. That's part of telling the truth, right? So I want to be transparent in the conversations that we have, and they have to be conversations. And I know my sister tells me all the time I can be a little bit preachy, but I'm not religious in any way. But I do understand that, right, as humans, in creating the best human beings we possibly can, we have to get along with ourselves and we have to learn to get along with others, but we can't until we get along with ourselves, right? And so we're writing up peace treaties and stuff, and you know that it's only going to be broken because, right, we didn't take those lessons in. We didn't, right, partner up with ourselves. We just partnered up with others and allow others to dictate and mold us the way they want to. I am grateful that I am creating the best human being that I can be. But the best human being that I can be is going to be a whole lot different than anybody else. And everybody else's is going to be a whole lot different than everybody else's. And right? And it's a process, 100%. It's a process. Like there was a very good chance that I might not have woken up to any of these ideas at all. If you had mentioned this stuff to me 10 years ago, right, I would have smiled. I would have been polite because, you know, it does take all kinds to make the world. I live by that. I live by that now, and I lived by that 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, right? It was part of my upbringing, right? I am my father's daughter. I had no idea that any of this even existed. I was blinded to it. So yes, very easily I could have missed this train, right? But I'm on it now, right? I'm on it now. But I'm on my train. I'm just here as the evidence for myself, and in that off chance that somebody sees an experience that might be or has a or listens in on a conversation or whatever topic we're working on, that they might recognize that evidence for themselves as a truth, right? I take in a lot of information, but I tell you, today I actually made mental note of some of these posts that are out there, some of these Instagram posts, some of these TikTok posts, that some of it is really, really manipulated because, I have seen some of these posts before, like years ago, and they're just starting to show up on YouTube now. But now they are spliced with totally different videos in order to make those small clips into a story, right? And that is such an untruth. And that's an untruth. And if I hadn't seen the originals of those clips on other platforms, the way they put it together, you wouldn't have known that that story was an untruth because they were splicing different stories together to make a whole story, right? Change is always happening, right? My story is in a constant state of change. But that constant state of change, I understand in this moment, will always, right, in some form, be moving forward. It has to, right? We have our lapses, but our lapses don't go backwards. Our lapses just kind of, right, stop, take a breath, take in the landscape, get it all together, brush our knees off, get up, and then just move forward again. This these are my truths, right? But these are my truths because of some of my beliefs and because of that dynamic upbringing that I had, right? Those beliefs have impacted the way I move, the way I think, the way I feel, right? And so I have to take all of that into consideration when I come to the table with these conversations, experiences, and adventures, because my truth is not going to be the truth for everybody. But I have to say, there are commonalities in the way that we do move. There are. And if you're hanging out with me, right? Maybe you're hanging out with me for a reason, that maybe you might feel that resonance with something that I'm saying. And it might not feel like a complete truth because you never had experienced before. You've never had this conversation before. And now all of a sudden, right? It caught your attention, right? And it might ring in that moment as a truth for yourself. Just that one piece. And then everything else Cindy said, that just in one ear and out the other. But that one thing, you caught that. And that one thing could be that one thing that just gets you to that next step, right? To that joy of taking the next step. I was never a good learner. Not in my mind. Looking back now, being a spectator, of course we absorb, but we only absorb in what's being presented to us. And lots of times, right, what's being presented to us is being projected onto us. And of course, we're infants and we are brought up to believe what our parents believe, right? And I was saying yesterday on my Instagram live that one good thing was that my parents decided not to baptize us girls, right? My mother had, and mom and dad had 4 girls, didn't have any boys. And they decided, because my mother was a Christian and my dad was spiritual, that they were just going to leave it with the kids and the kids would decide. At any time, if we decided when we were kids to be baptized, we would have been baptized at 10 years old. In the end, none of us girls were baptized, right? But we do, right? We do have those understandings of something or someone, right? And some of my sisters do believe in Christianity, but I have a nephew who's Islam, and I have another sister who I'm not quite sure if she believes in anything, right? So each one of us, right, in order for us to get along with other people, like, right? How can you do that with so many different beliefs that run against our grains, right? Run against our beliefs, our truths. Well, that's by starting with getting along with ourselves. Once we learn to get along with ourselves, well, you're already in that mix of it takes all kinds, because you accepted yourself. If you can accept yourself, most definitely you can accept somebody else, right? And then that's when we're really going to see some growth out there. This is my truth, right? And it seems silly, and it's difficult sometimes to be creative in bringing that truth to the table, right? It's not everybody's truth, but I have to bring it to the table anyway because it's my truth. And my truth has never been taken into consideration, not by anybody else and not even by myself, right? I've got a few lessons under my belt, and I put those lessons to good use. And I understand that through the practicing of those lessons and taking that action, right, that we can find resolution for a lot of those problems, right? That right? We might have solved so long ago if we had started long ago, right? But better late than never. 62 years old now, right? This was all new to me at 57. Wow. I have pocketed a few truths in that span of time. And I suspect moving forward, right? Because I am somebody who believes in baby steps. I am, right? I'm not pounding the pavement on that one. But yet, I think naturally, and as long as I stay truthful in that, there won't be a lot of mess for people to kind of siphon through, right? To dig through the mugwire, I used to call it, right? That big, thick, heavy mud in order to get something. It will should feel nice and clear and fresh and believable, right? Because believable, well, I think that's the truth for yourself and the truth for me, right? And that's true. And we don't always, right, start off with beliefs that are even close to being ours if we were actually given the choice, right? Lots of times growing up, the choices are made for us, unfortunately, right? Grateful that my parents did at least one amazing things for their kids, right? Right? I would hate to think that I would be trapped in a faith and have beliefs in that faith when possibly, right, naturally, it wasn't a truth for me, right? It was just somebody else's truth that I was being asked to digest. Okay, you guys, we got truth this week. This, see, you can see the lack of enthusiasm in this word, but it's an important word. So we're going to come at it tomorrow in a different perspective. I don't know what kind of perspective I brought it today. I am pleased with how my day went, what I got accomplished in it, and that's all I can be grateful for, right? Because I understand that I did the best that I did, right? Or the best that I could. And I think I made a little bit of movement in that, but it was a team effort 100%. And I'm going to, right, have a bath, crawl into my pajamas, right, take in a few lessons, maybe some metal detecting visit videos, make myself another cup of coffee, and crawl into bed, right? And wake up tomorrow refreshed and ready to go in whatever tomorrow has to offer. Okay, you guys, that's it for me today. Very last drop spent here, and I am pleasantly pleased with it all. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.